welcome to the beautiful Laura Fleming. So honored to have you on today to be jamming about, your experience since joining the Untapped space and all the amazing personal growth you've been doing and just how much you have shifted as a human since we first connected. So would love you to just share a little intro on, where you're tuning in from and what you do day to day with your time.
So I am tuning in from Dunedin, and what I do day to day, I am an insurance advisor and I am also a support coach on Untapped.
Yes, you are. And Laura is an incredible support coach and someone who just, yeah, you have a real art and way of getting people to take the actions they need to take, which is so awesome. And so tell us a little bit, because I know our journey, how long ago would have been that we first connected?
Oh, over a year ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you come across Untapped, and I guess what space were you in when you found out about the coaching world and all of this? Was it new to you? Yeah, just take us on that journey.
Yeah, amazing. So I had previously done counselling when I was in school, and for me, I found that didn't really work for me. It was more about sort of reliving the past, but what I was really searching for were skills and techniques to actually help me move through that. And I came to this part of my life where, I was waking up every day and I knew that I had more to give, but I just didn't know how to give it and how to get there. So I was lacking those skills and techniques to actually, put me back in the driver's seat of my life and accomplish what I knew I had within me, but I didn't know how to get there. And the wheels sort of started falling off in a number of areas of my life. And it was actually my brother who sort of found you on Instagram, which was amazing. And
Yeah.
reached out to me and was sort of like, hey, I think this would really help you. There's all of these incredible women sort of leveling up their life. And it's something you should check out. So it was my brother who directed me to you through Instagram, which was, been life-changing ever since.
I love that. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I remember our first conversation connecting, and I knew from that moment actually you were just someone who you were quick to act, and I think that's who you are, right? It's like you were just like, yep, cool, it's not working the way I want it to be and I want to do something different. I remember you like registered so quickly, like moments after our call conversation, I think. And yeah, I could tell that you were so ready. How long do you feel like you'd been in that space of, like, I guess
Um,
it's like frustration, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
we know but we aren't activating it. How long do you think you've been in that space?
it definitely been about 6 months. Six
Yeah.
months, and it had just gotten worse and worse. And it was one of those vicious cycles. Like you get up in the morning and you don't want to go to work. So then you sort of just drag yourself out of bed. You don't eat breakfast. You're not fueling your body. It's like this vicious cycle. And I was just fueling my body with absolute crap because it was like convenient. I wasn't organized to like make my lunch or anything like that. So when you're feeling down and then you're not fueling your body, you just kind of start on this like downward spiral, and everything affects everything, right? So when you don't feel good about yourself, then that starts to reflect in your appearance. Yeah, it was just a number of areas in my life that everything sort of started spiraling. And yeah, I'd been in it for about 6 months. And when I found you, I was at that point of, right, no more. I literally could not tolerate this anymore. And if I had, I don't know where I would be right now, because it was so bad that it was just like, I just didn't want to literally like I just had no drive, no ambition. It was getting to that point where, those days when you just lie in bed all day and you're just like watching Netflix and like you're accomplishing nothing, so self-destructive. So I'd been in that for like 6 months. And
Mm.
yeah, at that point I was like, right, I can't do this anymore. There's so much more that life has to offer, and I need to like actually take some action and
Mm.
embrace it. So yeah, I think that's why I was so quick to action, because I just couldn't tolerate it anymore. I knew I needed to change.
Yeah, and it's funny with us humans, and I fully resonate with that myself on my journey, but it's funny how we weirdly convince ourselves, and we stay in those spaces for longer than we need to, right? But there's definitely a part of us that gets to stay safe, and like there's a part of us that doesn't have to admit responsibility for this, what we've created, and it's kind of, we almost like we know what's going to unfold on that way, but it's like admitting to ourselves that, okay, I'm not in a great place and I get to do something about it is so courageous, right? And it's, yeah, unfortunately, often takes a lot of pain, which is kind of what we want to help people avoid, is right. You don't actually have to go to those depths and places, which is, yeah. And I think what you said is so powerful in terms of like coaching has been about that, like activation, future focus. Let's move forward. Let's take some action. Let's get you in the game, get some tools. I think, did you experience for you that you were someone like prior to this kind of space that you'd fallen into as such, this rut or whatever we call it, quite intrinsically motivated, like, yeah,
100%, 100%. So I've always been very driven. What I put my mind to, I achieve. Like I'm a go-getter, 100%. I would always sign up for challenges and I thrived on that. And for me, this was such a new experience. I was the girl that was first out of the gates. I was known as the person that what I put my mind to, like I give it 110%. Ticked off the life goals, the career, the relationships, all of that sort of stuff. And for me, this experience was really new, and it was something I hadn't experienced before. And because I hadn't experienced it, I didn't know how to deal with it. And these are the types of things that you don't get taught in school and in life. And when you kind of hit this point, it's like, who do you turn to? And you kind of just start floundering and you don't know where to turn. And that's why this program was so amazing, because it gives you those skills that you can turn your life around and take the driver's seat. And life just starts happening for you, not to you. You go from that kind of victim mode to actually, I can create my reality.
So powerful, so powerful. And I think, yeah, it's very common for a lot of high performers it's like that driven, and we achieve and we achieve and we go after and we create this kind of societal success. And then it's actually like that moment, that you're lying to be kind of watching Netflix wondering, what is this really all about? Is that, they call it rock bottom, whatever. It's like, that's the piece where we get to redefine, I think. And that's the shift I also went through from corporate law to this world, was like, actually, I'm going to fully overhaul who I thought I was or who the world expected me to be, and like redesign. And so tell us a little bit about your HPW experience. So you jumped in, I know you were both feet, let's go, let's do something. That's just who you are. It's how Laura does everything, which is amazing. And so tell us a little bit about your HPW experience. What were the first like ahas, the big moments and shifts for you in that process?
Yeah. So for me, when I jumped into HPW, I feel like the reason why I joined is because I felt really down and unfulfilled and unhappy. But what I discovered in the first couple of weeks is actually what was the driver behind those feelings. So for me, I knew what the emotions that I was feeling were, but I didn't actually know why I felt that way. And for me, in that first couple of modules, it was about that self-discovery, uniquely you. And I realized that it just had all come from a place of low self-love and self-esteem. And when I looked in the mirror, I just really didn't like a whole lot about myself. And it wasn't that there wasn't things to like, it's just I couldn't see it. So for me, in those first couple of weeks, it was just, incredibly amazing and a little bit confronting as well, asking yourself questions you've never asked yourself before. But so insightful. And I gained the knowledge that, the reason why I was feeling this way was because of how I felt about myself. And I knew that needed to change.
Yeah, absolutely. That root cause, right? Just what you said. It's like really getting, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not all these things. It's just actually getting underneath it and be like, cool, that's what's going on. Perhaps I'm not living in alignment with my values. Perhaps I'm not, loving the person I am, or even understanding who you are. Like, I think so many of us, we judge ourselves, we criticize ourselves, we're not enough, but it's actually seeing all that magic of who you are. And so that's amazing. And so for you started to obviously rewire this conversation. I know you did some big shifts. I know social media was something for you that you really experimented with. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because I know that's huge for a lot of people.
It's massive. And I don't think you're aware of how much it can affect you. And now I know, but I was one of those types of people that I wake up in the morning, my alarm would go off, I'd jump on my phone and like scroll for a wee bit, and I sort of thought there was nothing wrong with that. But then I realized how much time I was spending on my phone. And when I'm on my phone, it's that constant comparison to other people, right? When you're scrolling, you're looking at the highlight reel of everyone's lives. And then when you're sitting in your life in bed, watching Netflix, feeling like you're kind of like, far out, like, you know, I'm nothing, like, look at these people doing this and look at my life. And it's, yeah, that negative self-talk just gets so loud. And those apps, now I know, are designed to get you hooked. You know, they're super addictive. And it's designed around comparison and that feeling of I'm not enough. And once I sort of clicked onto that, and I realized that that was, you know, one of the most sort of disruptive things in my life, is how much time I was spending on my phone and these apps. I cut it. So I deleted the apps. I just had a cleanse from social media. And it was the most amazing time of my life, because instead of focusing my energy on all of these other things, people's lives behind the screen, I focused my energy on myself. And that's where the real shift came, because I found I had so much time to accomplish so much more. The comparison, the noise just went completely down, and you start to appreciate how many gifts that you have, and just enjoying the moments in the moment rather than behind a screen. Trying to capture something to share with other people, you can talk to them about it. And also relationships as well. You know, I was catching up with my friends and being like, oh, I saw you went on this amazing trip. You know, I was telling their story rather than actually asking them, you know, what have you been up to? And when you ask better questions, you get better answers. And that's where you create those deep relationships. So yeah, culling of social media. I am on social media now, but just reducing that noise for a little bit just gives you so many insights.
And I think exactly what you just said, it's like also understanding the context we're going onto those platforms from. Like if you're not in a great space, you know, and you, maybe a lot of people aren't even aware of what's happening internally in their mind, but if you're not in a great space, you're not feeling confident and empowered in who you are, and then suddenly you go on these apps, which like you said are designed to, you know, on all our insecurities. There's a whole other podcast interview, but it's like that. It's like that context you're coming from, that's just going to amplify that, versus like I'm going to take some space. And I even remember when you came on one of our group coaching calls and you've been off for like 6 or 7 days or something, and you just had this glow, right? You just had this whole like energy about who you were, and like this light, and like what you're contributing to your relationships. And it was just like, wow, that was so massive. And it's, yeah, incredible. So yeah, proud of you for taking those actions. And so tell us, what for you during HPW, or, you know, through the coaching experience, so you started to shift this like mindset, I guess, this internal conversation you were having with yourself. What then resulted? What flowed out of, because everything starts with inner to outer world, right? So I think when we start rewiring that mindset stuff, everything else starts shifting. So what else started shifting around you, like as a result of this inner shift?
Yeah. I think it was an inner shift, and also it was an identity. I actually found who I was. You know, before I just really had no idea of who I was as a person. So actually gaining an identity that was within me, rather than being attached to, you know, I'm Laura from the bank, or I'm Laura in this friendship circle. It wasn't about attaching myself to those external groups. It was about finding an identity within myself. And that for me was so pivotal. And yeah, externally, what that meant was, you know, I got back in the game with work. I've always been a high performer, but it meant that I was an even more high performer at work. I could give back in a way that I hadn't previously. I also gained a sense of community. So I went out and I ran. I've never been a runner. I was the type of person that at school I would try and like get out of PE. So for me, being a runner, I brought that into my life, and I gave back to the community and raised $2,000 for mental health. And that was incredible for me, because I had never experienced the joy and fulfillment you can get from giving back. And that sense of community, you know, you learn about having a community, but outside of your friends, I didn't have that. So yeah, for me, giving back to the community was super amazing. Relationships just went to a whole new level with myself and my partner. We now get more vulnerable with each other. We can communicate with each other in a way that we hadn't, rather than, you know, being unhappy and closing those doors and not opening up to the person that you love. We now can share, you know, where we're at, how we're feeling, how can we work through this. So it's just been amazing. Yeah, it touched so many different areas of my life, and as well as finding the community within Untapped as well. You know, for me, I had my high school friends, and that was sort of my clique, and I hadn't moved very far away from that. And when you find a community of like-minded people, that are on the same buzz as you. They're about growth, personal development. It's freaking epic. So finding this community was also something that was unexpected, but yeah, amazing.
Yes, love that. It's a piece I think we often don't realize we need, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's actually having, and I think that's why, even with HPW, the ever evolving community, and the reason it is a group program is to create that, because I felt for myself, like I was a lone wolf. And even when I did all this personal development, I don't really have anyone to share it with. And I think that's, the issue with even just podcasts or books alone and stuff, is you don't get that whole environment shift. And I remember you running some like mindset, some workshops at your work, and like it's incredible, right? How much when we do that inner work, we then have so much more contribute to the greater whole. Like you're running the half marathon, raising that money, you're running workshops at work. It's just incredible. And yeah, so proud of you for everything you created. And then so fast forward, everything shifting, you're really back in the driver's seat as your life as such, which was incredible to see. And you jumped in as an HPW support coach. So tell us a little bit about that journey for you, I guess, how that's kind of shifted, how you're showing up in your life, and what's kind of unfolded since then.
Yeah. So there's this notion around you can't ask in others what you wouldn't do yourself, right? So for me, being a support coach, it's really helped me level up my own life, because if I'm asking that of the sisters in the cohort, then I need to be in the game as well. So alongside that, seeing the growth of these women is insane. It is so, so rewarding seeing them go from here to there, achieve their goals, and just get more self-love and confidence. It's honestly the most rewarding experience. But alongside that, yeah, it's asking of yourself. So there's things that I've been doing that I constantly grow now, like starting my own business in terms of the coaching. So yeah, it's just been an epic experience seeing them grow, and it keeps you in the game and also the community. So from being a support coach, I signed up to another coaching program, which some girls in the cohort were also doing. And I flew up to Wellington, had never met these girls before in my life. And, we just jammed. We started our own little community. They're now friends. And it's just been an awesome experience.
Yeah, amazing. So good. I love that. And you're bang on. So yeah, with coaching, to hold that integrity, isn't it? It's like we have to be willing to go. And I find that for myself is, yeah, I know when I'm really stretching myself as a person and as a coach, like I can then be such a more like demand, and I can take my clients so much further because of that work. So yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, Laura is an absolute weapon, like we said at the start, at just accountability. It is your superpower of like action and accountability, and taking people to those places that they're challenged to go, which is why so excited for the business that you're creating around, helping women do more with their money. It's going to be so incredible, because that's such an area of life that a lot of people are afraid of. A lot of people aren't empowered on and educated on. And obviously coming from that bank background, I think you've got a really cool hybrid of like this bank knowledge and more strategic level and practical, with all the mindset and personal development pieces that you've done, which is just so, yeah, it's going to be amazing. So exciting. And and I think for anyone listening also, Laura, like you're, relatively young, not that age matters, but and you've done some really incredible stuff with your money. And obviously part of HPW, we have a money mindset piece in it, because what we saw was like, cool, people create these amazing visions with their life. They figure out who they are and what they want to build in their life, and then boom, money's an issue, right? And it's an issue for everyone, because until you've done the work on it, it's an area of life most people avoid. So that's why it's part of the course curriculum. And I know that you've done some really cool stuff with your money, and then even more recently you've done some, what might seem out there things. So do you want to take us a little bit through your journey with your your money, and I guess your ethos around it? And
yeah, amazing. So money, what I was doing with it previously, when you say money, some people are like, ugh. But I love it. It's like, make it right. But with money, I was doing what society would call success. So at the age of 25, I had built 2 houses, and yeah, it was pretty successful in terms of what society would class as having money and investing your money. But for me, I didn't know why I was spending my money in that way, and I got no fulfillment and joy from having those properties. It was actually quite stressful, especially when they were rented. It was kind of a burden, to be honest with you. And so working through just having my own identity, knowing what my values are in life. And for me, what I value is making memories with my friends and family, travel, and the house just sort of wasn't aligning with actually what I wanted out of life. So I was stoked when I sold both of them and could put my money towards things that actually fulfill me, like coaching programs. And now I've spent, well, not spent, invested quite a bit of money in terms of personal development, which is my jam. I absolutely love it. So yeah, it's just been really insightful actually doing more with your money, which is aligned with your values so that you can get more joy out of life rather than sort of just, I guess, trying to keep up with like the Monopoly game, right? So like just trying to keep up with what society standards think by buying like the expensive clothes, all of that sort of thing. It's just about, using your money and making it work for you, doing more with it that's aligned.
It's huge. And like we're so deeply conditioned with what's successful in terms of money. And it's like, you and I both love money in the sense of like we both know the power of it and the freedom and the choice and the contribution that can come with it. And again, like you said, it's like that realignment, which what I so respect about what you've done is you worked hard, you invested, you were really savvy with your money, and then you actually saw like, wow, the reason I'm not getting is because is it really aligned with how I want to spend? And it's interesting personal growth investment, right? Because I think I'd be well and truly over a few $100,000 on my own mind and business and life. But it's like that it's such a new industry. I think we still think of that as spending, whereas like when you are an asset. Like we don't relate to ourselves as that, but like the more you invest in yourself, the more you have to give others. As you saw, right? You started contributing to the community and then at work, and then suddenly you're already inherently a valuable human, but the more you put in, the more you
get out. It comes to people. And that's the thing, it's that shifting that mindset of you are your biggest asset. And whatever you invest in here is going to come back to you absolute tenfold. We sometimes put all of this value into the job, assets, external things, but you are your biggest asset, and investing in yourself is the most rewarding experience, and it enables you to give back. So what you learn, especially what you learn in HPW, you're out with friends for a coffee and something might come up and you go, oh, actually, I have an insight around this. Like, would you like to hear? And it's amazing just giving back to the wider community in ways that you didn't think you could,
Yeah, and I think, and then that flows through because a result of a lot of HPW, not everyone comes in saying like they want a business, right? It's about that kind of self-discovery, but it is a lot of people do end up launching something of their own. And again, business, it's so interesting. Business is from adding value. Like the reason you succeed in business is because you can add value to the world, right? You can solve someone's problem. And again, it's like the more you invest in you, the more you can give to your clients. And it's like, then you become even more valuable. So yeah, it's so amazing. So we'll have to stay tuned and share when, what you launch comes out to the world. It's going to be so magical. And I've seen Laura in action when she's coaching around money and having people empowered and having plans, and it's just like boom boom boom. It's like making that dream a reality, isn't it? And making sure we're actually spending in ways that feel good. Amazing. So cool. And so for anyone, I guess, and I know the other day on Instagram, it was crazy looking back on we were, and even just seeing that version of you and then seeing you right here is like wow. But I guess, is there anything you want to say to someone who's in that space? Like they're not feeling great. I guess they maybe resonate more with the earlier part of your story, and anything you want to tell them.
Yeah, I just want them to know that what you have inside you is inside you. And you just need to tap into that and take action. It can be better, and you are your biggest asset. So, we think about these programs, and sometimes, money comes up for people. Find the money, invest in yourself. It is so worth it. And the community that you get in this program is epic. In life, I think sometimes we put so much focus on all of these external things and accomplishments, but at the end of the day, people matter, you matter. And if you can find a community like this, it is so, so valuable, and it'll come back tenfold. So find the money, back yourself, invest in yourself, and you'll level up your life because it's so, so worth it, and you have everything inside you.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you, Laura, just for all that you are for everyone in the world, the contribution, the massive courage that you have. I know this upcoming months we've got some events that we're attending together, and you're coming to Wanaka for the Untapped retreat, and it's just like, it's so magical to have you in the space, and it's been such an honor to watch you grow and continue to grow, because you're someone who's just so willing to do the work. So yeah, thank you for being on.
Thank you.